I don't take nothing that a doctor don't prescribe. I just take Paxil, Xanax, Zoloft, Flomax, morphine, Valtrex, Flonase, Plavix, codeine, Zyrtec, Zoma, Zantac, Ultram, Zocor, Zipro, Prozac, dopamine, Demerol, Lexapro, Tylenol, Vicodin, Lyrica, Lipitor, and Adderall, but I don't do no drugs, man.
I am joined by Kerry. And Kerry, when did you become a patient?
I began that process in October of 2024.
That's what I thought. Yeah. And you have gone through the total gut job. That was one of the things that we recommended from the get-go. And I want to start with this question. What, because I can't remember all of your issues, but what issues were you having prior to seeking our help and us putting you on the total gut job?
I had some hypothyroidism issues, and I was on a medication for that.
Mhm.
But then, in addition, I had been on a medication for about 13 years to help with dry eyes, dry mouth, and the kind of the emergency that I fell into was I was having some chest tightness, not necessarily palpitations, but I didn't feel good. I just felt like my breath was being taken away, and I had to see a cardiologist. And so I started going through these visits and appointments and even a stress test. And I passed the stress test, and they just couldn't figure out what was going on. But I know I kept questioning my primary physician about the medications that I was on and if those could be factors. And so I just didn't have the answers.
Mhm.
And I was tired of competing with the way I felt on those medications.
Yeah. Um, do and how were these symptoms that you were experiencing? How is it affecting the quality of your life?
Well, it was just giving me more stress and um, a lot of focus on just that particular part of my life. I just felt like I couldn't really focus on work enough. I didn't feel good. I was very fatigued.
Mhm.
I noticed that was another issue that seemed to be compounding as time went on, and um, I just didn't. I had like some brain fog. Um, I couldn't put it all on one thing. There were multiple
Yeah.
issues that I was dealing with, but I just felt very tired coming into the evening when I came home from work, and I just had a lack of energy
Yeah.
no matter what I did. I mean, if I drank caffeine or if I, tried to even improve um, what I was eating as far as calories and things like that, nothing seemed to add up.
Yeah. Yeah, just feeling bad is stressful, and man, and like you said, the additional stress just makes things worse. So it's a vicious cycle that you can get caught up in when you are sick, you know? Um, and then what things had you tried? You might have touched on this just a little bit. What things had you tried to address these issues prior to coming to see us?
Well, I definitely went and spoke with my doctor,
Right?
saw the cardiologist. I was exercising, what I thought was, the right type of exercise.
Yeah.
I was consistently a good water drinker, so I just try to increase, that. Um, and I did read a lot. I tried to, read and figure out, if I wasn't getting the answers, are there other opinions out there maybe? And, maybe I'm just going down the wrong path. And so I was looking at these different, pathways besides taking medication. Could I take supplements? Could I, stop the medications? But then I was really scared about the repercussions of, I was given these warnings about, well, if you get off of that medication, this could be detrimental to your health.
Right.
If you're not taking like the thyroid medication.
Right. Yeah. I hear that a lot, oh, if you don't take this, it's going to get real bad. And from my personal experience and professional, it seems like things just get worse when you do take the medications, versus not taking them. Not that there aren't appropriate times for things like that in emergency and, emergent and urgent situations. Um, did you have any concerns or reservations when we said, hey, Kerry, we're going to start you on our total gut job?
I did. I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be like a quick fix, and I really didn't think there was going to be help for me, honestly. I just wanted to try and seek out another opinion. But then when, this total gut job was mentioned, I just thought, well, I've heard of this, but how does this even apply to me? How does this apply to, what's going on with, my medical needs? I just did not see the connection.
Because you didn't really have a lot of GI issues, right?
No, not really. I mean,
a little bit. They were kind of minor.
Yeah, but I just, I thought maybe it was caffeine or,
Yeah.
something sometimes.
Yeah. A lot of people don't make that connection. And then they're always shocked, like, wow, what do you mean? How does this gut stuff play into all these other issues that, they don't suspect that are absolutely coming from their gut health? What was the first improvement that you noticed when you were going through the total gut job?
I think the first improvement, and it still surprises me, is the amount of energy that I started noticing waking up in the morning and being able to go and, not have coffee, not have some of the sugary things that I liked. So I was surprised about the energy at first.
Yeah.
That was the first thing.
And that's very motivating, when you start to get some energy back and some pep in your step. That changes a lot of things. How long did it take for you to notice that into the program?
I think that was noticeable with like after the first week.
Yeah. So
I had weaned myself off of coffee, which I thought that one's going to be almost impossible. I mean, there were a lot of things in my head that I thought were going to be impossible, but even after a week, I started kind of feeling, I just noticed this, more energy when I reached the end of the day or the end of the work day.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of people realize some of the detrimental effects of caffeine too. We're using it, and all it does is mask your tiredness. It does not give you energy, and it just kind of drains your body even more. So yeah, good for you. That's always that can be a tough one for a lot of people. I have been using decaf coffee for the last almost 4 years. And people are like, why even bother? But it's just that routine. It's just that I found a really good decaf coffee that I like, and it's that something hot in the morning. It's just my little routine. But I pretty much avoid caffeine for the most part, and do not miss it at all. So was there a particular breakthrough moment that kind of stood out to you? Was it like some type of change in lab values, symptom improvement, a mindset change, a light bulb moment that went off during this process for you?
Well, there were just, multiple changes that I started noticing. Besides the increase in energy, I noticed that I had more energy to go walking. And while I was walking and exercising, I wasn't feeling hot or just fatigued.
Yeah.
So I could do it and I could keep going.
Yeah.
Then I wasn't having some of the stomach issues that I'd had that weren't, they weren't really life altering, but I just noticed a lot of these things stopped.
Like what were like was it bloating, abdominal
There was
discomfort?
bloating, just stomach upset,
Yeah.
and I thought it was more of my nerves or caffeine or something, but a lot of that just halted.
Yeah.
Um,
Good.
so, and then when I started feeling better, I mean, fast forward to about December of that year, I called my doctor's nurse to ask about a natural thyroid medication. And she said, well, we're going to have to wait till January 1st, of course, to see how, if your insurance will cover it, but I can let you know. And I said, why don't you just talk to my doctor, and how about I don't go on my thyroid medication? How about I stop taking that for 8 weeks and give me this time, because I said I've done something very differently in my life. And if you give me this opportunity, I'll come back and I'll do lab work. And so she said, okay, the doctor said she's on board with it. So
Wow.
let's try it. And so I waited till the very end of February. So that had been quite a while, and went in, and the doctor's nurse called and said, can you come in, because she does want to talk with you. And she said, your blood work looks different. Your lab work looks different than it ever has. And so when I went in, my doctor was just like, what has happened? What are you doing? Because everything is normal. All my thyroid levels were normal. And so she was just shocked. And so, and then on top of that, I didn't have that weird tightening in my chest. I'd really decreased that medication a bit, but I still hadn't seen a big change, and I stopped taking it. I just decided I'm going to stop. So that was the other thing that I'd noticed that was really big. It was the big game changer. And at that point, I mean, my doctor said, okay, I think it was that medication, but she said, but you did something else. And so I explained to her about the total gut job, and she was just very impressed, and she was very supportive of it.
That's awesome. Yay. Well, I hope that it, got the wheels turning in her brain, which I know that's happening to a lot of physicians because we get a lot of referrals from other MDs, who are intrigued with what we do, functional medicine in general, and want to learn more. It's just, goodness, it's hard to find time to do that without, cutting way back on your hours at work. But that's great. People ask us a lot, can't we get to ask this question a lot. Can you get me off my thyroid meds? And I'm like, I'm not going to say we absolutely can, but I know it's possible because we've done it not only for you, but for others who have just like, I don't need it anymore. And I'm just like, because once it's the thought is once you start taking thyroid medicine, it's like you have to for the rest of your life. And that's just simply not true, as is the case with you. That's so awesome. Kerry, so, so awesome.
Oh,
What,
my other thing too I didn't
yeah.
mention is I had taken a um, a nasal spray for allergies for like 20 something years. And I quit doing that, and I wasn't having any allergy issues. And I'd also taken an antihistamine like almost every evening. So I
Wow.
stopped those as well.
And that's amazing. For 20 years. Your poor nose. But that just speaks to the resiliency of the body too, right? That you can throw so much at it, but it has this remarkable ability to heal if you just give it what it needs and remove what it doesn't.
Well, and I do remember you saying, look, there's a possibility that there are things that you eat that can, be more of the source of some of these allergies you're dealing with, which I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. But additionally, I thought of something else. I had this ring that I used to love wearing, was a sterling silver thick ring. and I hadn't been able to wear it for about 7 years. And I went to go and put it on, and I was able to put it on.
Yeah.
And I mean, in addition to that, I dropped like, I don't know, 17 pounds. Didn't
Wow. A
plan
lot of
on
that was
that.
yeah, a lot of that was inflammation and fluid,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know.
And I went down like 2 sizes in my clothing, but my doctor was like, I'm really concerned, but I said, but I feel so much better.
Yeah. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Um, that's this is just amazing, Carrie. Did you learn anything through this process? Like, what was the biggest thing you learned? Because a total gut job is, yes, we are rehabbing your gut, right? Your gut microbiome. We're trying to optimize its function and rule out any food sensitivities. But it's not just about the food that you eat. We're also making sure you understand how your other lifestyle factors are playing a part in that too. So, what was the biggest surprise to you in all of that?
Well, I know you kept stressing, or, my functional medicine nurse kept stressing, you need to put all these things into a routine, make it part of a routine. And I started taking time. I took time to walk, and I was even out there, even if it was raining outside, I was taking a 10-minute walk in the morning, a 10-minute walk in the afternoon at work in the sunshine.
Yeah.
And so I was doing that. And also, I was being very cognizant of the amount of sleep I was getting, um, and just all these different factors, making sure that I was getting that exercise. Um, those things really helped, solidify to me when I was going out and being out and getting away from the desk. It all just came together for me. Trying to remember, I don't know that it was one point or one thing. It was multiple things.
Yeah.
But taking in the sunshine, and then understanding too that each step, each bite, I know it wasn't just the food, but, understanding that homemade, this was one thing that really stuck in my mind. A lot of people are like, I made this homemade, I made it from scratch. But I kept starting, to question, okay, but what is it that you use?
Right.
Because I just knew that I could no longer use these other oils and, salt, just your regular table salt. I had to really put everything together. It was all the ingredients, it was the sunshine, the exercise, the right types of foods. Because
Yes.
I found things that I can even purchase that have worked.
Yeah.
Um, you can make homemade, but you might use refined sugars, you
Right.
know.
Yeah. Or
So,
poor
and
quality flowers, and
yes,
yeah,
and there's a lot of good country homemade cooking and a lot of cooking from scratch that's full of sugar.
and a lot of other stuff.
Yes, a lot of soy.
Yeah.
Um, there's just a lot. So, even learning how to ask questions, even at a restaurant, if there's something that I really love and I want to have something every once in a while, that I know that I could go to this one place where they don't put soy in their food and I can get just a little bit of it.
Yeah.
So just listening to my body as well, and, making sure that I'm, listening very carefully. But things like, it's so much easier now because of this process. And I will tell you, I've eaten, I won't say the brand name, but I've eaten certain very popular types of chips. And if I eat just two of them, I can feel very dizzy.
Wow.
And I don't feel good for the rest of the evening sometimes. I've had significant headaches.
Mm.
So I've just learned to not even eat those kinds of chips.
Yeah.
There are some great chips out there. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, there are. And I'm
but
like you. I can tell which ones my body likes, which ones my body definitely does not like.
right. I mean, I think my body is just it's that much cleaner of the eating
Mm-hmm.
that I do and taking care of myself that makes me very aware.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
and
it's like a blessing and a curse, right? It's like I feel like, and you probably feel the same, it's like my body is very in tune with bad food and good food. And it will let me know immediately when I have put something of very low quality that I should not be eating. It will let me know immediately, and I'm glad it lets me know. But it's like sometimes I'm like, why isn't it doing it to everybody else?
right.
Just
Yeah,
chow
that's the
down
big
on it.
mystery.
But maybe they're not really coming to, they're not putting that the way that they're feeling with, you know, with what they're eating too. Or at least, I think a lot of people just accept a lot of their health issues as, oh, it's just everybody has it. It's this just way you're supposed to feel. I'm that age. It's my genetics. And I think a lot of people accept a lot of things unnecessarily. And it's their body trying to tell them, this is not right. But anyway, that's a whole other topic we could talk about. Um, is Were there any habits or tools, strategies that you kind of picked up? I mean, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but was there anything you kind of picked up through this process that you continue to do now? I mean, I know you're reading ingredients a lot more, right? Looking at the ingredients. You said you're walking more, you're getting more sun. Anything else?
Well, I didn't think I would do this, but most mornings, I'll make a protein smoothie.
Mhm,
And I had not done that in the past, but I've stuck with coconut milk.
mhm.
And I never used to like coconut, but I've really just acquired a taste for it.
Yeah.
Um, and so it was, learning how to, you know, change to accepting new, new and, more healthy choices
Yeah.
most of the time, so it may not be 100%, but it's pretty much 97%. Um, I'm a prayerful person, but I found myself doing that more, and just meditating on and enjoying nature,
Oh, that's
like
so
going out more.
wonderful.
I love being outside, but I just realized the calming effect of it. And that's why I like to do that at work. And I've had people say, "You're so inspirational. Why are you going out there and walking?" I'm like, well, it's twofold. I feel better, but I'm doing this for my future health.
Yeah.
It's not just today.
Right. Yeah.
And so there's been other people too at work who say, I think I'm going to go for a little walk myself. I'm going to get away from the computer. So
That's great. So you are inspiring others. They're picking up on some things. They're like, "Wow, this Kerry seems to be doing really well. I'm going to see what is she doing, and I'm going to do it too." Um, you had mentioned coconut milk. Had you ever tried? Because there are some people that truly cannot handle dairy at all. But there are some people that can handle like raw dairy, like raw milk.
mhm.
Had you ever tried that to see if you could tolerate it?
I had
I'm
not
just
previous
curious.
I had not previous to this, but I actually tried it
Uh-huh.
and I was okay with that.
Yeah, most people
Um,
are.
Another big issue that I had too when, I was finished with that 30-day part of the
Elimin-
gut job
Yeah, the
and you
elimination phase.
introduce foods,
Yeah.
back into your system. There were two different times that I had difficulty with eggs. And I finally reached out to a friend who has her own, chickens that just run in the pasture. And I said, "Can I come and get some eggs?" And that was a game changer for me. I was able to eat those eggs because I knew I needed them because of the choline, and
Yeah, they're
that helps
good.
with.
They're wonderful source of
Yes,
all
they're
kinds of
so good.
nutrients. Yeah.
And another thing too was not like thinking about calories so much and fats, because I kind of question a lot of that in the back of my mind, but just embracing like the good fats, the
Yeah.
real butter.
Mhm.
Those were things that I'd been really afraid of before. And so, I eat the good fats. I'd always liked olive oil, but avocado oil was something else that I added to my diet. Um, and also not pushing myself too much. If I, felt tired one night, I knew to not exert myself too much. I learned that, it was okay to let my body rest.
Yeah. You were eating all those healthy fats and you still lost weight. Imagine that, you know?
Potatoes, I mean,
Exactly. It really comes down to the quality of your food and a lot of other things too. I mean, people get so hung up on calories, and I'm not saying you can just eat until, they do have some role. But yeah, it really comes down to the quality of your foods. That's so awesome. Um, I'm so happy you can eat eggs.
me too.
Again, it's quality. It came down to a quality matter,
Hmm.
you know? Um, what do you think? And you may not have done any other programs prior to this. I'm not sure, but what do you think makes this program different from like other approaches you may have used to address the issues that we were addressing with it? Was it just completely different than anything you had ever done?
I will say that I haven't tried, any kind of formal program, but things that I tried in the past might be more short lived. So, 7 days of this type of drink, some kind of health drink or juicing and things like that.
Yeah.
Um, to me, this was more of, okay, it had to be a certain amount of time, and I didn't understand that at first, but then it made sense. Um, but it was also, not just a one time trial kind of thing. It was something that I was either going to abandon or I was going to adopt and, let it become a part of me.
Yeah, it's a way
Uh,
of life.
yes, because a lot of people have said to me, "Oh, I did a gut job thing for 3 weeks," or,
Yeah.
I avoided gluten for 3 weeks. But that was a difference to me, and it wasn't, you know, um, taking a ton of supplements or um, the special matcha drink or whatever,
Yeah.
I mean, it was very much just a whole, kind of lifestyle.
Yeah, it's very, very comprehensive. And I think we have included the things that we feel are absolutely non-negotiable. Like you have to do this, but yet we're also like, I don't want this to be supplement heavy either. I don't want to fill up on supplements, but there are some things that are necessary at certain times. And we really, I mean, we've been refining this process ever since we first developed it many years again. And it has changed a little bit, but not really. Um, but but we still keep getting good results. So, um, awesome. So, what would you say to someone who is considering the total gut job but might be on the fence?
The way I looked at it was, what is this? This can't be harmful. And, what are my other, options? And so if the options are, okay, I'm going to have to stay on medication because, that's what's helping me cope, then, that's what I would, suggest is saying, just imagine if this can work.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of my husband and I kept talking. And he said, no, what if this actually does work for you? What if you are able to be free of needing those medications? And so I would say,
Give it a
trust,
chance.
yeah. And I don't know, could you trust your gut in this situation?
Yeah. And sometimes you just gotta like pray about it, right? Just pray about it, see what God has to say. Because it could also be a timing matter as well. We do warn people. It's like if you've got a big trip planned or, a major event coming up or something, don't do it then. We want you to succeed. So the timing needs to be appropriate. But sometimes there's really no good time.
There's not. I mean, I had several major events that happened right before I started this. And then the timing was going to make my total gut job run into Thanksgiving. And I was hosting for some family. But, I figured it out and I adapted and, I ate what I could, but the meal was exceptionally just delicious and healthy anyway.
Yeah.
And so, I think, and also, if you're thinking about it, like you said, and you're not sure, what made sense to me was I knew other people, from years ago who didn't have all these autoimmune issues. And I just thought about the history of, how that's escalated so much. And the way people used to eat was they ate whole foods. They didn't eat, all these chemically
Yeah.
processed foods. And so that started making more sense. And that's what, kind of just pushed me over to saying, this is not going to harm me.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
what have I got to lose at this point?
Boy, it didn't harm you at all, Carrie. It helped you a lot. Um, so are there things that people, you kind of alluded to this, but are there things, what things have people who work and live around you, have they noticed things? Have they mentioned stuff to you?
Yeah, I have people that will ask me, I don't understand. I couldn't do this. How do you even do this? Because I have a sweet tooth. I mean, if anyone had a sweet tooth, I did. I ate so much candy. Yeah, I mean, it might surprise people, but I love different kinds of candy, sweets. I love desserts. But people will ask, like they'll, when I'm warming up my meal prep, they'll say, "Oh, that smells delicious. What is it?" Because they know that I eat differently. And so they'll ask and they want to look at it. They want to know, what is it? Well, how do you eat and eat? What do you eat? And I'm like, I eat food. But it's just, I use different seasonings and I have to think ahead. But yes, other people have asked me, was it hard? Was it, why are you still doing this? And so it has brought about more conversation like that. But then, yes, people have reached out to me, and actually, my husband we ordered the total gut job for him. And so I just kind of he was so busy. He said, I don't know that I have time to, work with the consultation part.
Yeah.
But he worked through it, and it helped him so much. So
That's,
he and I have just partnered together, and
I mean, it's so much, I mean, it's so much better too when your partner's is
yes.
on the same page. I mean, oh, I've had so many conversations with people who are like, they're the only one in the family who's trying to do things right. And it can be, it can be a battle. I'm fortunate too. My husband and I are both on the same page. And, when people, they, when they make comments about oh, they eat different, but it's not like we eat, well, yes, we do eat differently than society, but we're eating the same as my grandparents, great grandparents did. That's the way that we eat. That's, to me, that is the way everybody should be eating. It's like, if you need to change what you're doing, because the effects it has on your health can be life changing, and that's what we hear from people all the time. This has just been life changing, and your health is everything. And I'm sorry, but the donuts and all the Chick-fil-A, it's just not worth it to me. I would much rather feel good, sleep good, because you're happier, you're healthier, you're spending better quality time with your family and friends when you're that way. I mean, that's life, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
you need to capitalize on that as much as possible and paying attention to what you eat and your gut health, man, can really make that happen.
I've
Um,
prepared, yeah, I've prepared foods when we've had like a potluck or whatever, and I've had people say, that's delicious. Like,
yeah.
what did you cook with it? Because they know I do eat a little differently, but um, just
But you're eating normally.
exactly.
You're
And
eating
then,
what should be normal.
like, I don't even like the fast food anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
I just, even restaurant food, I've come to realize you could pay $30 for a plate, but it doesn't mean it's the most healthy thing for you.
No,
Just
not at
more
all.
money doesn't always equal that.
And healthy food is more satiating as well. It keeps you satisfied a lot longer than whatever it is that's in the other foods. That processed stuff. I don't know what all they're doing to it, but it just seems like it is. Well, I know what they're doing to it. It's they're making it addictive, and
It's very addictive.
they've told us so. You
Yes.
know, which is another reason why you don't need to be eating that stuff, you know? What really is natural flavoring? We still don't, it's proprietary information. They do not have to tell us what that is. That is a big concern for me, you know?
Mhm.
Um, all right, so I'm going to ask you one more question. Um, h- how would you describe your experience with the total gut job in like one sentence or a few words?
The total gut job has been life changing and inspirational for my personal health and for those around me.
Yeah. That what you said is just kind of hit me too. It's because not only are has your health improved, but it's impacting others. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, like, in a nutshell, it's just given me the freedom and hope that I can sustain myself with good choices
Yeah.
over having to depend on medication.
Right. Yeah. Amen. That's a wonderful thing. You don't have to be going to the doctor all the time. You don't have to take pharmaceuticals. This doesn't have to be a way of life,
Mm-mm.
That's wonderful.
And I've not, I mean, yes, I have health insurance, but I've not needed it honestly
Yeah.
since I started this process. I've not taken any antibiotics.
Good.
Yes, have I had a virus? Yes, but
Yeah,
it,
things happen. We're still
yeah.
human, sicknesses can occur, but it's less likely to become a big issue. It's usually,
Oh, yeah.
you jump back real quickly.
I've been
Yeah.
around people with flu.
Yeah.
They've had COVID,
Yeah.
strep, and
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
don't
getting
even
any
worry
of
about
that.
that,
No.
because I know that my body's terrain is in such a good condition that I don't even worry about that,
Yeah.
you know. I can even tell you the last time I got sick, really. It's been a long time since I've
Yeah.
been sick.
It's very exciting.
Yeah, to know that you can actually live like this,
Yes.
you know? Awesome. Well, Carrie, thank you again for doing this. I've been wanting to talk to you forever. I've been wanting to interview forever because, I was right along following you through the process and just was so excited for you because of all the wonderful things that you were experiencing. And so thank you for sharing all of that today.
Well, I appreciate all of the encouragement I got and just the guidance, and it was right for me, and I'm just so grateful that I was able to make that connection and find you, and all the work and time that and the research that you've put into this is, I mean, just amazing. So
It's
I
great.
really appreciate it.
It's wonderful to know that you're helping people too, And now
Hmm.
you can help people, Carrie. You can help carry the torch too.
I've
Um,
steered many your way.
Good, thank you.
I don't take nothing that a doctor don't prescribe. I just take Paxil, Xanax, Zolap,